Okay, honors chemistry. We're going to look at some more challenging problems, and we're going to get past row 5 and look at what happens that makes it a little more challenging down there. So our first example, I'm going to have us look at iron here. Okay, iron's a transition metal, and if we recall from what we discussed earlier, iron is it is in the D block. And when we looked at this periodic table, we probably didn't pay much attention to it. But I want you to notice that here is where iron would be found at this row here. And they're calling it a 3D. We also see this with the F block. This is somewhat harder to see because the F block fits right here. Okay. And so here I have 6S. But the F block, the one that joins up with 6S, is 4F. And the D block is 5F. And so on your periodic table that you hopefully marked up by now with S, P, D, and F blocks on there, you need to add these numbers on there as well. Because for whatever reason, the D block and the F block are shifted up in energy levels, and so they don't take on the same number as the S and P block, which corresponds to the row. Okay, so let's go look at yours. Here I have the Fe, and it's on row 4. But since I'm in a D block, it's actually 3D, because D blocks are always one less than the row it corresponds to. So now let's count how many blocks in we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I count the blocks, I'm looking specifically at the block I'm interested in, and that's the reason I didn't look at the S block. So my endpoint is 3D6, sorry. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to find 3D, and I'm going to put in 6 arrows. Up, up, and then paired. Okay. Since again, this is my endpoint, that means everything else below has to be filled. And so I'm simply going to go in here and start filling my electrons using my principles. You are expected to recognize a configuration that is correct versus a configuration that's not correct. So once I have that, then I need to write my configuration. Now the nice thing about these charts is that they are color-coded, and so it makes it really easy to start writing them because I got to put in numeric order, and then I got to put them in orbital order. So we have 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6. Then I'm going to go get that 3d6, and then 4s2. So again, even though I filled the 4s first, because I always fill based on my periodic table, just like I showed you earlier, when I write the configuration, I write based on energy levels, and that's why the 3D comes in front of the 4s. Okay, so let's go do, how about uranium? Uranium looks fun. So here we have uranium, and oops, it's in the F block. I did that to you on purpose, absolutely. So here is uranium, and uranium would slide in right here. So it'd be on row 7, but since I'm working with the F block, then I know this is going to be a 4 or a 5, because they're always 2 less than the row they correspond to. Great. So that means my endpoint is 5F1, 2, 3, 5F3. Okay. Now the thing is, we're going to work off of this periodic table here, and I'll be honest, if you look at our periodic table, you're going to notice that lanthanide and actinide, it's actually down here in the F block. Okay. They keep moving those two around. But let's use the periodic table that we have here on this activity. And then if I ask you to use yours at school for that activity, you'll use the one at school. I know it's a little confusing there, but it just, they can't seem to agree on where lanthanide and actinide should be. But based on this periodic table, let's look at this. So my endpoint is 5F3. So 5F3. Oh, look, it's all the way up here. Look at that. So again, we do our endpoint. We're going to put in 1, 2, and 3 electrons. Now, all right, that means everything below this point has to be filled. Okay, so up, down, do 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 do. Bum 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 bum. Dun 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 dun. Anyway, here we go. We're still not there yet. Nope, keep going. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Oop, almost there. Come on, keep going. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Almost. Keep going. We're almost there. Dun 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 dun. Keep going. Almost there. Do 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 do. Ah, there we go. We got all our arrows in. Isn't that awesome? Look at that. That looks pretty, doesn't it? All right, now we got to write our configuration. So again, we're going to start at the bottom. So we have 1s2, then we go to 2s2, 2p6. We got to get all our 3s. 3s2, 3p6, 3d10. Now, this is where the color coding matters. So this has been set up by colors. I need to go get all the yellows. So 4s2, 4p6, 4d10. Then I got to go with that 4F14 up there. Now I can do green. 5S1, 5P6, 5D10, 5F3. Then there's your 6. So 6S1, 6P3, and then R7, 7S2. And that is your longhand configuration for uranium. So again, find your endpoint and then fill everything below it and write out your configuration. I will tell you that next week I will show you a shortcut on this so that you don't have to write out all of this configuration. But we're going to learn longhand first, so then when I show you the shortcut, it'll make sense and it'll be valuable to you. Last thing I want to say before I end this, again, the rest of this is practice for you. Silver, notice it's starred. And I'm gonna point this out to you. If you notice here, I have this row here. As you fill that one, pay attention to that and see if you can figure out what we did here. We're gonna notice that this occurs multiple places. We're gonna see this little trend here, and I'm not gonna tell you what the trend is yet, but I want you to kind of reason through it. We see the trend also here. And we're gonna see the trend is that the right one? Okay. Sometimes that trend also shows up in the F block. And so look at those and see if you can figure out what's happening when you hit those elements. Those are going to be important that you're going to have to star because their configuration is a little bit different and there's actually some reasoning behind it. Okay, all right, keep practicing.